Hello and warm welcome to everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our pilot episode of Are We Human podcast. My name is Kevin and I'm the host of the show where we dive into real experiences from real people. I'm thrilled to be with you all here today. In today's episode, we're going to talk about romance in the 21st century with our lovely guest, Selena.
Hi.
Hello, Selena. Selena is a good friend of mine and has wonderfully volunteered to be part of our inaugural episode here. So first of all, hello to you, Selena.
Hi again.
So today we're going to be talking about a very big topic, but we're going to go into some main pointers here.
Big topic.
Overall, I just kind of want to engage in conversation with you with your thoughts on the topic. So, yeah, let's get right into it. So, our topic today here is dating, right? And I think the first part or the first section where we want to talk about today is dating in the information society and why it's difficult. And the first topic I want to go into today is the online dating apps. And it's no surprise that there have been a lot of dating apps that have come out with on whether it be Tinder or Bumble or Hinge or whatever kind of dating apps it is. So I kind of want to get your ideas on this and what do you think of all these online dating apps?
The thing is, whenever I think about online dating, I automatically have a negative connotation about it. It's not neutral in the sense like other online platforms are, because I know so many people who've had bad experiences, and even especially platforms like Tinder do have a lot of bad reputation.
Yes.
But I think, like with everything, there's positives and negatives. Yeah, and I think in general, online dating makes it a lot easier for a lot of people to connect with like-minded people in general.
Yes, it definitely gives people that opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And it gives people opportunities that they probably didn't have back in the day, for example, where you actually had to go out and meet people. And, there definitely is this convenience factor that is installed with online dating apps. And the fact that it has made dating a lot easier. But on the contrary, we see this evolution of dating where back in the day, people would go out, they would have to go out and meet people, whether go to a bar or go to some social setting, like a party or something, to actually meet them in person. But now we just have people just swiping online. And I think the change in that definitely changes the whole culture of it, So, what do you see in terms of the change that's happening? And for example, and was it better before or is it better now? And how do you see that?
Yeah. I mean, I can't really talk about what it was like before because I basically grew up with online dating.
Yeah.
I'm only 21, so,
yeah, so
I don't even know how dating life was before that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do get both sides. I got to experience both sides so far. So you don't even need online dating apps per se to meet people. A lot of people just randomly message you on platforms like Instagram, WhatsApp, like just usual social media platforms, or Snapchat.
Yeah.
So there's not much difference for me between those two. But in terms of if dating has been successful for me,
it's hard to say because I think everyone defines success differently, right?
That's true, and also it depends on what the person is looking for. Because I think especially apps like Tinder or Bumble are really great for let's say fling things or hookups.
For sure.
Yeah. You don't have to deeply connect with people when you meet them if you both know beforehand that you only want one thing or you only want sexual intercourse,
Definitely, yes. And this actually segues perfectly into the next point, which I kind of wanted to bring up is because we talked about this previously, the change in the culture of dating. and how there has been a very huge prevalence of the hookup culture, and there seems to be this diminishing idea that people would want something more long term as compared to in our parents' age, where a lot of people were very keen on having long term relationships, but it seems like nowadays those long term relationships they kind of start to fade away now with all the options that we have.
Right. And it's not so much about finding your long life partner anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So most people, I personally would never expect to find my future husband or wife on a dating app. I would never have that high of expectations, because I know that a lot of people just are on there randomly, or they just want to have fun, and they're not really looking for anything permanent.
Yeah, so there's that preconceived notion when you automatically when you use dating apps, there's that kind of thing that's built into people's heads already because of the reputation that it's gained ever since they came out, right?
Yeah, and I think that's also why older generations especially have a very, let's say, bad view on dating apps like Tinder or Bumble, because they know that they're not really familiar with the idea of not dating someone permanently.
Yes,
and
for sure.
Without having the end goal of marrying them.
Yeah, and like you said, right, like you were still at a very young age, you were already exposed to this kind of mindset, right? So at a very young age, people have been brought into this hookup culture and this idea, and there seems to be kind of these diminishing ideas from previously where we would say, oh, we would want a lifetime partner. Now it's just at a very young age, people were exposed to this hookup culture, so there is no seriousness. So it kind of seems like people are not willing to work on long-term relationships anymore.
Yeah.
People break up so easily after a few years. People just call it quits. And
let's face it, apps like Tinder are notorious for being like the first thing you go on after a breakup to find your rebound,
Yes. I can tell you,
distractions.
I've definitely had some personal experience with that. But I totally understand that, and a part of me is thinking, is that because of this is kind of the result of the culture that online dating. It's exactly. Yeah. This is the result.
They almost go hand in hand, hookup culture and online dating. Yeah, for sure.
And it's like, why do people immediately jump back onto the dating apps as soon as they break up? It's like it's an automatic. It's a reflex. So that kind of really, it's an unconscious decision that people make when it comes to dating, and the whole sphere of it has changed. And like you mentioned before, social media and the abundance of information out there with like you said, Instagram or WhatsApp, the amount of people that's out there, right? Like I think I kind of want to go into this next point, which is the influence of social media that has on dating. Now, not specifically talking about dating apps, but just social media in general, with Snapchat, Instagram, and how you have access to so many different people. I think there was the concept of the paradox of choice, right?
Yeah, the paradox of choice.
And I think do you know anything about that, or do you want to talk about it a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, well, the way I think about it is that like with information that we have access to all the time, different information. It's the same with people. We have so many different people that we can potentially choose from when it comes to dating, or whether it be a sexual partner, a friend, or a long-term partner. If we have too many choices, we end up choosing no one. So this is the result of the paradox of choice. Because we always think that the grass is greener on the other side. We always think there's someone better out there.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have the flaws that our current partner has.
Yes, for sure. And it kind of romanticizes everything, because it's...
So you automatically scared to commit because you think, well, there might be someone even better out there. Yeah,
for sure. And this is a very, very relevant that there's this analysis paralysis, right? Like you mentioned. The fact that there are just so many options that, and then people just end up choosing nothing.
They shut down and choose nothing.
Yes, exactly. And when it comes to, for example, long-term relationships, right? Like we mentioned before, when people get out of a long-term relationship, they immediately jump back into the dating apps because they know that there's the abundance of people out there. There's so many different things they can choose from. Now, if we contrast that to before, where our parents' age, when they were first met, for example, they had no choice. They had to go back out there. They couldn't just swipe on their phone and download an app and start looking immediately, right? It takes time, and this, like we mentioned before, but this change in society, and really it has been, it's so prevalent, yet we kind of rarely talk about it, right? Nobody really talks about this. Everyone's just kind of into their own zone.
Yeah, that's the way how it is now, and and I think as you mentioned that another problem that stems from this is that we don't give ourselves enough time to actually process a breakup, or
that's very important.
Go through the feels and emotionally process everything that went wrong, and reflect about it. And
it's a learning process, right? Like people it's something that people have to go through, and then you have to learn from it, but people don't. People just immediately just go back onto their phones, right? And I can say this from personal experience, I'm not going to name any names, but with my ex-partner, for example, we kind of both felt that everyone says that there's like a honeymoon period, which, it's like, they say it's like 6 months or so, and then afterwards we kind of both...
Isn't it only 3 months?
I think.
And then after that comes work.
comes the work, yes, exactly. Yeah. But that initial honeymoon phase...
the honeymoon work.
The honeymoon work. It's that after that initial attraction fades, people don't... People are very reluctant to, try to make that work, because they're like, oh, once the initial attraction fades, I'm looking for something new. I want that next experience, right? It takes a lot of dedication and commitment to commit to that one person. But I think because of like we mentioned, the abundance of information that's out there, or the abundance of choices that we have, people, are very reluctant to do so. And then, once the honeymoon phase, it's over.
And after a few rounds of the same cycle of dumping one person, going to the next thing, and realizing, okay, it's not working again, and again and again, and the same thing happens all over again a few times, and then they realize, okay, there's something wrong with the way I approach it, maybe, or with the whole mindset of...
And people kind of don't, like we said, people don't really think about this, or they don't take the time to process what's happened, and the change is evident, right? Like we see right now, divorce rates, I think, what is it now? They're almost up to 50%. Like the fact that almost half of marriages end in divorce, it's gone up a lot. And, obviously this is a very, what I'm about to say next is kind of very theoretical, or just kind of predicting what the future would be like. But is it even possible to have a long-term relationship as we progress further within the information society? As technology becomes more and more advanced, where we would have like VRs, where we can literally the whole scene of dating would be changed to the fact that you can just go online and you can pretty much build the person you would want to be with, which is a scary thought. The fact that you would just like be a machine.
Partner.
Yeah, exactly. So, but then you start to lose touch of it, right? So, I mean, and this is all for our younger generation.
Imagine they'll be able to even simulate the release of, let's say, endorphins or oxytocin, like the love hormone, even though you're not actually touching the virtual reality people. And I know that they will be able to do that, and it's so scary.
It is,
because then maybe you won't even need to touch people anymore in real life.
It is really scary, and like the younger generation that has been exposed to this, and what they learn and what they absorb, is this reality of dating, you know, is it even possible to find long-term partners like we mentioned before? Is there going to be a death of marriage, or even the death of monogamy? Are people even going to be dating humans anymore? It's just a crazy afterthought to think about. So
it's a scary thought experiment.
Yeah, and there's a lot can be said, I think, and
because right now, I mean, we're still in the phase where it's actually not so beneficial to be so much on media, on social media and online in general, especially for the young people, because they actually need to have human touch.
For sure.
To develop
that kind of, they need to socialize themselves.
Right, they need to socialize themselves, and the human touch is missing for a lot of people, for a lot of young people, because they're only playing computer games, or only online typing.
On TikTok.
Not talking to them actually. Yeah.
People are lacking the social skills.
But if scientists will be able to, simulate everything that encompasses human touch, then there might not be that problem anymore.
Yes, for sure. And and
then they'll justify going in that direction.
Yeah, they'll find a solution for it, but in the end, is it technically better, or is it technically worse than the original problem? That's really up for debate.
Is it still human?
Yeah, exactly. So are we even human anymore?
Will we be human anymore?
Well, I think that's a great segue into our show, Are We Human? So, but Selena, thank you so much for talking with me today. I really appreciated that. Some very insightful conversations that we had. The Are We Human podcast. We release episodes every week. And next week, we're going to be talking about another interesting topic. But Selena, I want to thank you very much for joining us today. And to everyone out there, have a wonderful day and take care.